wanna party like Chris Farley.
Hey, what's up guys, and welcome back to another episode of Night Call. So I haven't played this game in quite a long time. It's literally since the last one has been almost about a month. You open one eye. It's pitch black outside. Time for work. You get up quickly. And a few minutes later, you're outside your studio. Night 4. Okay, who do I want to go to first? Well, okay. Him. Let me just go to him first, because, you know, it do be like that sometimes. There used to be a lot of Lebanese restaurant out here. You will lunch there. It's a DJ. I'm gonna accept. The door opened. His eyes are hidden behind a pair of large, dark glasses. His clothes reek of sweat and booze. A clubber. He mumbles his destination and you start driving. Few words are exchanged. The weather, taxes, traffic. Then you could tell it's coming. The inevitable conversation about the killer. Some bits of information, rumors, things overheard. You might make a mental note of what you heard. Who knows? It might come in handy. Your mind wanders. Your eyes vaguely scan the store windows. The color street lamps feels like it's dripping into your brain. I said sodium, not sodium. What the fuck? You're falling asleep. You need a bit of music to keep you awake. You glance at your passenger. Have found a little music. He waves a hand as if to say, who cares? You turn the radio, pressing it down to find a station you like. 80s rock ballad, too soft. Behind you, your passenger snoring barely. You can tell, but you can hear him. Atonal classical music sounds like the orchestra is badly tuned. Alright, not tonight. Two journalists discussing new evidence in the investigation to the judge's murders. They shared salon talk, nothing more, seems important nonetheless. An ad interrupts a torrent of words as you change the station. Classical music again, the flute grates on your ears. Electronic music, you like the rhythm, but you just aren't in the mood. Stop. You lift your hand from the dial, the music plays on. Not bad. Turn it up so I can hear better. I didn't want to wake you. This voice sounds like it's coming from a deep cavern. I wasn't sleeping, just sobering up. He leans forward. Not bad at all. You hear the touch of an accent, probably an American, but someone who's lived most of his life in France. Leave it on until they say the musician's name. The music is there's nothing turned to the background, a persistent melody that gets higher and higher. Your client mumbles. I bet. The song is coming to an end and the announcer's piercing foghorn voice throws out the name of a DJ you've never heard of. DJ Blunt. I knew it. He famous? Yeah, quite actually. I taught the dude everything he knows. Everything. In '94, at a party at the Rex Club, there was this kid who started buying me around. He waves his hand around. A kid, no older than 17, thought he was hitting on me. He chuckles. He would have been disappointed. He shakes his head. No, he wanted me to teach him how to spin. I told him no, but you can watch. And that's what he did every week until he moved to the Osiris? He sold X to pay his way in. He briefly snickers. And now, radio. Silence fills the cab. Weighted silence. You can tell your passenger's mind is spinning. You know what he did this summer? He was the opener for a soccer champion sim at a Stade de France. It was huge. Wonder what people think if he knew he was selling drugs at 17. He lowers his voice a bit. If only they knew. Pasture clams up. And keep an eye on the road. You notice a woman crossing the street at the crosswalk. She speeds up as she walks by two men talking loudly. We ran into each other in the Ibiza 4 or 5 years ago. You almost jump at the sound of his voice. It was like spinning in this little club. Yeah, really, but it was something. He totally ignored me, of course. Even with those dark glasses, you could tell how angry he is. DJ motherfucking cunt. He suddenly starts waving his arms around. He rummages through his pockets as he says, your radio. Can it take a flash drive? Don't say your radio, you don't really know what he's talking about. I don't know. No worries. He lays his phone in the space between the two front seats. Listen to this. It's what I played tonight. It's mine. He sets his phone to play. But you know, people were barely dancing. A drum machine playing at a beat in the background. They were talking, each other's picture. 4 notes started to dance in the club. They barely never kiss anymore. A perfect dance beat becomes progressively audible. All that, a purely electronic crescendo plays. It's over. There's a break in the music. Synthesized strings calm down without slowing it down. At least. The song is getting intense again, explodes as your passenger drifts off. Dancing. The song keeps going for another minute, then stops. Your passenger doesn't budge. You drive to the rhythm of his snoring. The sound fills the cab. Ideas bouncing through your head, like they do every time you find yourself alone. This guy in the back seat is too old to be young. You look at your own hands. They look like they're suddenly aging in laps. You close your eyes a second. Only a second. When you open them, you reach your destination and have pulled over to the sidewalk. You tap his passenger's knee to wake. He wakes at the start. Shit. Sir. Yes, great. He rummages pockets and hands you a few rippled fare. Thanks, I hope you liked it. Silence. The music, I mean, my music, the song I played you. Should have been in the spotlight, you see? 15 minutes of fame. Just a minute of... He stifles a burp. You can hear him mumble as he leaves the taxi. Those whispering Ginas really screw with my system. You see him stagger towards his building. It takes him several tries to get the door open. He finally disappears inside. You heave a sigh. Okay, come on. Here's all the people we've met so far. So, just thought I should say that. Let's see. Let's go to this guy, girl. Looks like a girl. I don't know. Don't want to assume genders here. It's a girl. Sure. A beautiful woman climbs into your cab. There is something sensual and comforting about her. No, I just missed it. Don't worry, I'm taking a cab. Anyhow, I just wanted you to know. For a minute, you think she's talking to herself, but she leans over and whispers her address to you. I think you really enjoyed it today. As you start the cab, you notice a hands-free headset practically hidden by her thick head of hair. I'll massage his feet tomorrow, and I'll let you do the rest. A small laugh escapes her. Or the other way around, sure. And, Cruz, it's normal to feel a little awkward at first or uncomfortable. I mean, not knowing what to do. But you'll see. A couple more days and you'll get the hang of it. Anyhow, you should get to bed now. You need to keep your strength. She stopped talking. Her phone call is over. She catches your eye in the rearview mirror and bursts out laughing. You look shocked. It's none of my business. Well, actually, it is a little, seeing I was rude enough to make a call on your cab. So, just so everything's perfectly clear, it wasn't a booty call. I've been taking care of him since his accident. I'm a nurse. His accident? That's right. He was supposed to meet his father for a rugby match. He was in a hurry. He passed a truck. He tried past a truck on the right, and he was leaving the highway. The driver didn't see him. Her voice trails off. I don't know how he managed it, not to die on the spot. That's really tough. All that just to see a rugby match. Her playful smile full of life. I mean, ever since he was little, I tried to get him interested in soccer. And see what happened? A smile of dry amusement flickers across your passenger's face. Anyway, he's been in a coma for weeks now. Grade 2, not a total vegetable, but not that hardy either. So I had to move him into his place. Cruz and I are taking care of him now. His place? Yeah, I couldn't stand going to rehab anymore. Yeah, you should see how they treat people there. It's the worst unit. And the comas go on like that for months. No change. Luckily, the head doctor. Her climb begins mechanically tapping her fingers on the leather pants. You hear the dull tap, tap, tap sound. Let's just say he was having a hard time saying no to me. And that, I thought, a little Tituin would be just as well off in his own bed with his girlfriend there to take care of him, seeing she doesn't work and all. But it's a little too much for Cruz, of course, so I'm helping out. Cruz is his girlfriend? His fiancée. Lovely girl. Your passenger puts her hand to her mouth and smothers a giggle. Totally inhibited, but sweet, very religious. She prays in Spanish at his bedside every night. They've been going on for 2 years now, and I don't She blushes. Well, you know. A brief silence. You find yourself trying to think of something to say. How you been holding up? Your passenger doesn't answer right away. You're afraid you've embarrassed her, but her face looks relaxed. I work in palliative care. You know, I've spent the last 8 years of my life taking care of people who are going to die. The only question worth asking is how long before they die. It helps keeping things in perspective. In my son's case, there's still hope, and at least I can help. I mean, I know how to do it anyhow. For one thing, there's the day-to-day stuff. Nails, hair, beard. It all grows like crazy. There's a lot of maintenance, like a gardener. Same for the teeth. We have to brush them every now and then. Because believe me, if Tituin wakes up looking and smelling like a werewolf, we will never hear the end of it. A smile escapes you. Your passenger sees it in the mirror and is clearly pleased. But the biggest risk is not being able to move. Our bodies are meant to move. I know it's hard to believe when our alarm clock go off, but it's true. Our blood circulation stops working correctly. Our skin gets cold, loses its elasticity. So we have to massage him as often as we can. And then there at our bedside, at the bed sores. Do you think what bed sores are? Do you know what bed sores are? No. It's what happens to your skin when the weight of your body is too much for it. It splits into two, like the Dead Sea. Oh, or the Red Sea, I should say. In the hospital, there are lots of patients who are still conscious who have bed sores. Their bodies are racked in pain. It's like being skinned alive. Oh my god. The worst part is, we have to change their bandages twice a day. Talk about brave. Working in the hospital is hard. The work, it's pretty depressing, but in Tituin's, I don't even know how to say it, case, it's different. I don't have a choice. It has to be done. And actually, I'm happy. We can talk to each other. We can't talk to each other anymore. He doesn't even react when I touch him. To take care of him is just my way of showing him I love him. That's a good thing, isn't it? Pretty odd, huh? But that's how it goes. A passenger shudders briefly. Okay, Patricia. Enough of that depressing stuff. Let me tell you something funny. Earlier tonight when Cruz and I were watching Tituin, not exactly a pleasure cruise. My son is well over 6 feet tall, and Cruz is a cross between a matchstick and a Q-tip. So I was managing the best I could, rolling him onto one side and then the other. She was trying to help, though the truth, it is pretty hard for her to take him. Pretty hard for her to take. I mean, it's all new to her. It can't be that much fun. So she was muttering religious mumbo jumbo to herself in Spanish, Dios mío and whatnot. And just as I was rolling to on his back, guess what? He got an enormous erection. For once you start to laugh, your passenger joins in. The two of you enjoy a good long laugh. After a while, your passenger managed to catch her breath. A big ol' hard-on. How did Cruz react? First she turned bright red, and then she pulled the sheet over him as fast as she could. Your passenger marks a short pause, emphasizing what's coming. But it looked even worse. He just looked like Casper the Ghost. Peals of warm laughter filled the air. For a moment you were happy, as if the weight had been lifted. You pull up to the address she'd given you. You stop the cab and she hands you the fare. Thanks for the conversation. The ride went by really fast. She reaches for the door, then stops. You can sense she's really on edge. It's good to be able to talk. It's pretty unusual in Paris to meet someone so warm. Good night. A slight nod, like a promise. You too. Good luck tonight. She shuts the door carefully, then walks away. Your eye follows her as she climbs to the steps of the door of her building. A moment later, she's gone. As you start the cab, you catch a sight of something in the back seat, a Kleenex. You wriggle around to pick it up. Read it. You unfold a handkerchief. You see the word Patricia and a phone number written inside. You look up at the building and smile. You notice a newspaper on the back seat. Your last passenger must have left it behind, or the one before. You grab it and put it away. Could come in handy. You turn the key in the ignition and drive away. Okay. It was like I don't need gas. How about to the radio? No. I'm gonna read the newspaper. Not gonna read. Let me read the newspaper. You pull a newspaper out of your glove compartment and start leafing through it. Eventually, something grabs your eye. It's quite an involved article on the infamous police leaks affair. Who, why, and how all the confidential data was released to the public. The Justice Department is now looking at corrupt and violent cops who are known to be out of line. Concerned associations applauded how transparent they're being. Yet the more you read, the more you get the impression the journalist does not agree with their message. You turn the page and stop. You read about a third of the newspaper. Keep reading. You stop reading and go back a few pages. You thought you saw something. More money. Money, 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 money. Sure. The passenger who sat in the back seat could be a male model. He asked you to take him to a something airport. His voice is mild and pleasant. You sense your passenger wants to talk about the killer. It's simple. Since the first murder, everyone thinks that they know something. Everyone thinks they saw something. And this passenger is no exception. You watch him in the rearview mirror. He just is close, checks his breath, obviously primping. You drive people to the airport all the time. They bring along a suitcase or a banquet of flowers. Your passenger doesn't have either. He's looking at himself in the rearview mirror. And your controller disconnects. He's looking at himself in the rearview mirror. His lips part and he runs a tongue over his teeth. Nothing stuck in my teeth, right? You had no. You wonder why you're going to the airport. You're wondering why I'm going to the airport, aren't you? Yes. I could tell you were curious. I'll tell you, but it's a secret. His voice has changed, as if you were about to deliver a speech. Women today are too smart for us men. Too smart. They're onto us the minute we try to hit on them. He crinkles his nose as if they were a bad smell. There are dozens of books on how to get lucky and some how to score, but they all make the same big mistake. Do you know what mistake I'm talking about? They're written by men. I don't see why that's a problem. After all, deer write up books on hunting, do they? He smirks. No, let me tell you. All those books about hitting on women never tell you where the best hunting grounds are. What are we? Food? I don't know. Are we going to be... Theoretical pause. Airports. Another theoretical pause. That's brilliant, right? Women in airports are lonely, emotional, and available. On the streets, they're always in a hurry, don't have time at the movies or in the museums. They don't want to be disturbed. But at the airport, he's clearly very proud of himself. You remain silent, he pulls his nose and sniffs again. Is it me, or is there a funny smell in your cab? Sniff too. Sorry, I don't smell anything. He shrugs and goes back to monologue. Personally, I prefer older women. So cougars. Let him talk. Single moms who are at the airport to pick up or send their taxes. Just said. They are waiting at the accompanied miner's counter to get information about a late flight or a gate change. I walk over to the counter and look at the flight information and pretend to be worried. My sister, I say, I'm waiting for my little sister. She's never been to Paris before. I'm going to Louvre. Wants to work in fashion. She's already very talented. I hope everything is okay in flight. She means the world to me. She's my half-sister, but I love her like a sister. He takes another stance around the cab, then picks up where he left off. The half-sister line, it works every time. Divorced parents, remarried. Every time. He bursts out. A word of advice, though. Get there early. Make a day of it. Eye on the domestic flights, the delays, the companies. It requires little preparation, but I usually go home with 20, even 30 numbers. Hours, not bad, eh? Another thing, recommend early. These are a disaster there. You have to go back and forth between the different. It's exhausting. Neon lights, they ruin your eyes. No, Rosie is definitely the way to go. Is he a Rosie or Ross? The domestic flights terminal. He rubs his hands together. I can. Today's my lucky day. It's going to be. They're going to fall for me big time. You can't resist. You give a slight cough and say, "Excuse me, do you mind if I ask you a personal question?" No, of course, not at all. Anything to help you understand my game plan. Do you really need to go through all that? What do you do after that? All that. After what? After you get their number? Ah, very good question. I rate all the women I talk to, give them stars on a scale of 1 to 5, according to it. I go home and starting messages to the first to the 3 stars. He drops his voice in tones. They're the easiest, the best looks, easy ratio. Same thing the next day with the 4 stars. They usually play hard to get and see themselves as real beauties. He sniffs with a look of disgust. And then the 5 stars a day after that. Then, just to leave them hanging a little, to get them to doubt their own attractiveness. It's for number 1. You want to pick up women with my little strategy. Lower their sense of self-esteem. That is a total asshole move. The cab pulls into the drop-off lane, pays for the fare, and exits the cab. I'm telling you, you should take my advice. It's a piece of cake. You need to come up with a good line or two. They'll fall for it. It's really bizarre, the smell of shit. It seems to follow wherever I go. That's 'cause you are the piece of shit. He walks away. The sole of this right shoe, slight dark brown spot, disappears into the airport. You roll down the backseat window and start up the cab. No one take that advice. Do not do the plan that was mentioned. That is not going to make anyone better. It's going to cause more harm than good. No one strategy witnessed. That is a no. Never no. Into the radio. Your finger is posed in the front seat. I don't know. In front of the car radio, you try to find something to listen to. Listen to the news. You happen upon the nighttime news. In a vox pop about the judge, a bystander brings up the fact that the police still have not arrested the homeless man seen near the crime scene. You raise an eyebrow at this bit of news. You didn't know that. As soon as the news is over, you turn off the radio so that the cat once again. Oops, wrong button. Wait, both of these, but both of the buttons. Why? I think that we're good for tonight. I think that's the home. Us going home. I think I'll use a little bit of time to actually through some of the things. Now you know more about your clients. You've met Peter. Current balance 144. God damn, I need to get more people. You take a few minutes to update your board with the new clues. The bus goes by, making the walls shake. Time to be moving on your investigation. Huh, okay. So, victims 3 escaped from Argentina in the 80s. Killer wearing black gloves. Killer's height. Homeless man seen around crime scenes 2 and 3. Matches killer's height wearing black gloves. You deserve this type of thing. You know, the whole entire thing. And then you got this one with the rare gun. The height and the actual thing, or the actual, like, the gloves. And then this one with their gloves. The victim 1, a great football coach. Investigating the first 3 victims, killer's height, and found crime scene 1, which is justice. And I'm just gonna end the night here. With a heavy hand, you wipe your tired face. You slide onto the open sofa bed. The events of the day run through your head. The streets, the passengers, their faces, their problems. Your brain is running at full speed. Your body aches and you are in pain. You can tell that you need to get more sleep. You glance at your investigation board. You didn't quite know where you are anymore. To be honest, you're completely lost. You shake your head and your mind wanders for a second. Your eyes close. When you're about to fall asleep, you notice a taste on your tongue. It's very salty, like a soy sauce, a tad bitter, very strong. It disappears as quickly as it came. You fall asleep. Well, anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe for more videos like this one. And if you guys would like me to play more games like this, or if you have any recommendations on gameplay that are similar to this, so I can look into. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.